Hi, Walid. Um, just give me a second. I was just dealing with a little bit of a couple of technical difficulties, as is the case with computers, isn't it? Okay, it looks fine now. Let's see if I can transition and get going. Okay, that looks fine. I had to make sure about that one. Okay, cool. So basically, what I want to do today is, well, I mean, in this session, is I'm going to do a bit of a coaching session where I'm going to teach you guys a little bit more about how to attack a castle king. So there are many different phases of this, different ways of looking at how to attack a king that has been castled. As you'll see on your screen, you can ignore the black king. The black king is kind of just needs to be there, obviously, for it to be a legal position. So what I want to show you is just basically the general setup that you have when you get this castle king. Okay, that's probably very true, Walid. So this is a general setup that you would have. You'd have the knight that would be there. You'd have the 3 pawns that would be here. You'd have your king that is here, and you'd have the rook that is here. Okay, so that is what I like to just call the castle king nucleus. Okay, so with the castle king nucleus, the point of it is that when the pieces are exactly like that, it is actually quite a fairly strong position to have for the white king. Okay, so again, I just mentioned, just ignore the black king. The black king is not supposed to be there. Okay, now the problem with this is that as soon as you start moving any of the pieces around your king, then weaknesses start creeping up. Okay, so the first weakness that we are going to look at is the move h3. Okay, now as soon as h3 gets played, there is 2 different ways that you can try and obviously bust open the king. Okay, one of them would be to play a pawn from g5 to g4, and the other one is the obvious sacrifice that we usually have with the queen behind the bishop, right? Okay, now there is another thing that you have to note here. When you want to sacrifice, okay, when you have this idea of sacrificing with the queen behind, okay, in most cases you're going to need this knight to not be there. Why? Because in a lot of the cases when you do end up losing your pawn, well, your bishop for the 2 pawns, the knight can play something like knight h2, and then usually the queen would be either be able to go here or here. Okay, so in a lot of these castle king positions, when you want to sacrifice, the knight on f3 should not be there. There is obviously quite a few exceptions to that rule, but that's the easiest basic way to look at it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, okay, let me just also explain. If we don't go pawn h3 and we, let's say, go pawn g3, now what happens is, unless there's a bishop here, these squares around the king can become very, very weak. Okay, so that would be the targets once you have made a move like a g3. Of course, if there's a bishop on g2, then it is still okay because the bishop is defending all those white squares. Now again, if we look at another move, if we move the knight away, let's say we go put it here, then these 2 pawns become much weaker because the only thing that is defending them is the king. Okay, and of course the king is not the best defender ever. So that's what happens. Oh, thanks, Razor. I haven't seen your name before, or have I? Well, anyway, thanks a lot. Okay, so that's the other thing. And then the last one is to look at whether when the rook moves, we also have to start considering ideas that the f2 pawn can become a weakness as well. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try, maybe I'll do this, do I do this weekly or do I this? I might do this a little bit more often than weekly. But maybe for the king attack stuff, I'll do it once weekly, and we will move through all the different stages of, weaknesses. So today's lesson will be about the h3 weakness. So I'm going to show you 2 examples. One example of a sacrifice on h3, and another example of the pawn from g7 going g5, g4. So let's start with the first game. Okay, it's a very basic game, but it just shows you the idea. Okay. So we have a standard Italian game with c3. Okay, now in this game black plays bishop b7 because he's already anticipating the fact that if you play d4, then of course my bishop will have to move. Okay, so white plays d4 and black just plays d6. Okay, so the objective for black here is just to keep the tension in the center. So we have 3 attackers and there is 3 defenders. Okay, and in general as white, what you want to do is you also want to keep the tension. You don't want to play d5 because then the tension is gone. And of course, if you do play d5, then suddenly this bishop becomes very, very strong. Okay, and same pretty much goes for taking here as well, because the same problems occur. You unleash the bishop and of course the tension is gone, so black doesn't have to worry about anything in the center anymore. Okay, so here white plays the standard h3, which in a lot of positions is required, but in a lot of positions it is not. Like this specific position, it is not required because you can play bishop e3 to defend. So you can just play in this position, you can just play bishop e3 to have more defenders on the pawn. Now if they play bishop g3, then you can, I just want to make sure if I'm right here, can you play that? There. Can you play, okay, let's look at it. Bishop g4, can you play here straight away? Now if they take, you take. If they take, just want to look at if there is any funky variations here for us. Possibly we can't, huh? How sad would that be? So we can't play knight bd2. Okay, fine. But now, of course, we can play h3 in this position. And, can we play h3? Sorry. I keep on making moves here. I guess we could. Oh, yeah, of course. Now we can play h3 because, of course, we have the mate threat. Okay, so now it's a big difference. Once again, the whole game has changed. Yes, and of course, like you say, queen b3 in a lot of variations is also possible. Okay, so yeah, so like you say here, we could possibly play queen b3 as well. It's not h3, sorry. Queen b3 is also quite possible to be played here. Then of course the knight is not pinned anymore. But I mean, there is just many solid ways here. And of course, when we play h3 now in this variation, sorry, if we play h3 now in this variation, yeah, no, I understand what you meant, yeah. When we play h3 in this variation, it's a bit different because it also gives us a tempo. And when it takes on, when he takes on f3, he also needs to make a make a move against the threat on f7. So we've gained a lot of time, and we can deal with the center as we feel afterwards. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. However, white plays h3. Yes, no, I understand chess. Is that chess MO? I can only see chess MO. What's the full name? Okay, now black obviously just continues with the natural. Oh, he played queen e2. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, so queen e2 gets played. E7. Okay, now in a lot of cases I would usually tell you that you don't want to move your queen early because of course it becomes a target or it's wasting or blocking other pieces from developing. Here, when the queen goes to the square, luckily this bishop is already here and not here. Okay, chess motion, there we go. I can't see the full name. Okay, so in this position the queen is not actually obstructing anything, and there's another big reason why the queen is going to e7, because it wants to play here and then obviously queen here. Okay, so queen e7 is actually a very sneaky move after h3 has been played. It's actually a very good move in the position. Okay, now white is clever enough to realize that if he castles, you can't play pawn takes, queen takes because of this threat. Okay, so now black just plays knight f6, of course, makes complete sense. He puts his knight and attacks the pawn. Now again, he's threatening to win the pawn because he also has enough defenders on this pawn now. He's got now 1, 2, 3 defenders on his e5 pawn. And the other reason why he also plays his queen to e7, by the way, is so that if you take here, I can take, and my queen can't get traded off. So my queen is not on d8 anymore, so you cannot trade off pieces anymore. Okay, so after knight f6, white is already in a bit of a Oh, thanks for the follow, MDDK. MDDK Cairo. I don't know, MDD Cairo. There we go. So, what happens here now is now the e4 pawn is under real fire. Okay? Now, I tried to explain in the beginning when we looked at this position. Sorry, I'm just going to go back to it. Okay? When we looked at h3, I explained that when you want to sacrifice with something like, like a bishop and a queen here and here, then in most cases you would like this knight to be gone. Okay? Now if we go back to the game, now what happens here is in order to get rid of the tension or the pressure that is in the center, white is almost forced to play here. Okay, but by taking here, he gives us the opportunity to use this knight, which is usually not part of the attack, is it? This one is, this one is, this one is, and maybe sometimes the rook as well on the king side. Now we can play knight takes e5, and we can finally target this knight. So we can try and get rid of the knight on f3. Okay, now watch. Takes and queen takes. Okay. Now, of course, f4 cannot be played because this bishop is now fantastic. Okay, and that was the problem with white releasing the tension in the center. Is now look at this bishop here. Look at this bishop here. And look at the queen here. Okay, so that is all the things that we have in this position. Okay, white's last move is knight d2 to protect the pawn. Now, again, you can't play here because of takes, and then the obvious. Okay, so he does protect his pawn finally. But now, the time is right. The knight on h3 is gone. On f3 is gone. There's no more knight here. So if you were black, what would you play? Let me ask you guys in the chat. What would you play if you were black? Hello, Enotic. And thanks for the follow, buddy. So what would you play for black right now, guys? It's black to play. And the stage is set. This bishop is beautiful. The queen is fantastic down here. And the bishop is fantastic down here. Okay, so MDD Cairo says, let's slap this bishop, slap this pawn off the board right away. Okay. Now, again, I have to mention that this knight is not on f3, okay? So it's a perfect time for the bishop sacrifice. Now, pawn takes now. Okay, he's already said that queen g3 is the next move. Okay, now this is why tactics is important for you guys as well. Just basic tactics, like forks, pins, skewers, discovered, double checks, and remove the defender. That's your most basic tactics, okay? And the reason why it's important is so that you can even see it in a position like this. Now, queen check here, the pawn cannot take you because of the bishop pinning the pawn. Okay, so a pinned pawn cannot defend. It's important to remember that. Now, the king has to go here. We chomp off the pawn, king has to go back, and of course now we bring in the knight, okay, with that threat. Now what's the only move for white here? What is the only move for white here? I feel like there's a massive delay or something. The only way to stop the mate, okay, there's two ways, but you don't want to lose your queen immediately. So the only way to stop mate is to play knight f3 right now, okay? Yes, exactly. So now how do you continue for black? How do we continue for black now? So we've gotten this far. How do we continue? Okay, Yakira Vif. Hello, Yakira Vif. Welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen you yet. Perfect. Now we play queen g3 again because it's still pinned, so he still can't take us. And after king here, we play bishop takes. Okay, bishop takes f2. Perfect chess motion, because now you have this mate threat as well. So of course, if he takes, it's just mate, so that doesn't work. And every other move, if the knight moves, then you have that mate. So the knight now has to try and protect both of these threats here, because the knight's the only one who can do the job. So like if the knight were to try and play here to protect that one, then we have that mate, of course. Okay, and of course if nothing protects h3 mate, then it's h3 mate. Perfect. Okay, so it's quickly how this position snowballs by white losing the knight on f3. Okay, so here after knight f3, he starts feeling the pressure of the e4 pawn, and he figures, okay, there is a way to defend it, but he doesn't realize that he has bigger problems than that. So after pawn takes, we play with a knight takes and get rid of the knight on f3, and after takes, queen takes, of course, now the stage is set. Now knight d2 is the only way to defend, and the rest you guys already know. So that's a fairly easy, simple, basic just way for you to understand how the sacrifice on h3 can work. Okay, now let's move on to the next position, where we're going to look at how we can attack the h3 pawn push with the g7 pawn. Okay, so again, the opening is a little bit stupid. It's not the point. Okay, the point is just to show you the ideas. So e4, it's the same opening. So Italian game. So c3, and here he plays d6. Being ready to play bishop b6 again after d4. So it's the exact same opening, okay? But here, white plays d5. So now he releases the tension in the center. Okay, so knight goes back to b8, and he plays h3. Why? Because he still, for some odd reason, does not want your bishop to be on g4, okay? Now black plays the move sorry, what? Oh, sorry, yeah. Now, knight f6, sorry, yes. So now we play the move knight f6, and he plays the move queen e2 to defend the pawn. Now black plays h6. Can someone tell me why is the move h6 not bad, and why is the move h3 for white not good? Chess Merchant says the King's Indian attack is terrible. Okay, so note that black plays h3, okay, but black plays h6, sorry. But he plays h6 not because he's trying to stop a bishop from going to g5 or a piece going to g5. He plays h6 because it's an attacking gesture. He wants to play g5 and g4. So after white castles, he plays g5 straight away. Okay, it looks a bit weird, of course, but note, try and stop this. Yes, that's also true, MDK. That's also very true. There's no way for him, I mean, the point is that there is no attack on his king because of h6, and also white has not castled. White's not going to castle. So h6 is not a weakness on the king's side because the king's not going to be on the king's side. He doesn't care about that. So g5 is the idea. Black wants to attack immediately, okay? Now, how do you try and defend here for white? If you were white, what would you try and play to defend the g4 push? Yeah, what would you try and do to stop the g4 push from black's side? Not so easy, yeah? You want to play g4 yourself now. Looks a little risky, doesn't it? Can we play knight takes? Ooh, I'm a kitty too. Yeah, if you play g4, okay, I guess you can play g4, right? I mean, I guess it's alright. It's probably playable. It doesn't look pretty, but it is playable, isn't it? Okay, so now we have a lot of people saying knight h2. Perfect. Okay, knight h2. Now, what is the idea with knight h2? What's your next move idea? I think in a lot of the cases you would have sacrificed, by the way. If you play g4 here, I think in a lot of cases this would have happened. Because it's awkward. You have this awkward problem with your and after queen f6, knight d7 and castle alongside, you know what's coming. You know what's coming, boys. So okay. So knight h2 is what gets played, okay? Now see if you can find a move for black. Yeah, exactly. Now see if you okay, but it only g4 only gets is now a bigger threat because the knight is now gone as well. Okay, so the knight's gone now, so now you can play g4 for white, and then you're okay. Then you can just sit tight. So what does black play? If white wants to play g4, what do we play as black? Hi, Wasabi! Wasabi! So what do we play for black now? We know that white wants to play g4. We can't allow that to happen. So what do we do? Hello, JT Grime. Dinosaur, if you play h5, then bishop takes g5, unfortunately. Hi, Dinosaur. Dinosaur 55. Is that your age? Dinosaur? Ah, there we go. Okay, so black is the one who says, no way, Jose, buddy. I'm going to jam g4 in your face, okay? And there's a very big reason for this. Because if you take with a pawn, okay, you take with pawn, yes. Then you have to remember that you cannot play f3. f3 is not available. Okay. So after pawn takes g4, black just plays rook g8. Because now he has 3 attackers and you only have 2 defenders. And you cannot play f3. It's not possible because of the pin. Okay. So what does white play now? Yeah, in his face. That's the way to do a chess motion. Okay. It doesn't actually matter what white plays now, okay? There is a few decent moves like bishop e3. Things are perfectly safe still. I mean, obviously black apparently is fairly equal after bishop e3, okay? But black gets greedy here. And black plays bishop takes h6. So if you guys are black, white gets greedy. If you guys are black, how are you planning on continuing the attack? Yeah, yeah, bishop takes h6 was a terrible move. Okay, I'm a kitty, says knight takes g4. Okay, now there's 2 things to consider here. If you play knight takes g4 and rook takes g4, then of course bishop f3 threats and bishop h3 threats is just evil. Okay, so, because he cannot play f3. Just remember that he cannot play f3 because of that, obviously. Okay, so this looks freaking terrible as well. Okay, like this looks just disgusting because queen h4 and obviously bishop or queen h3 is what's going to happen. Okay, so he doesn't take. White now figures, okay, I'm just in time to save the position here. He can play bishop e3. So how do we continue on for black now? There's a small problem with queen h3, queen h4 by the way, and that is that I can play knight f3 again. Attacking your queen, and now I got cover over this piece, and then after that I can maybe play here possibly. Aha! MDK Cairo says, wait, let's go back. Yeah, so we play knight takes, okay? Knight takes h2, yeah. Okay, now we will let's look at quickly just at bishop takes b6. How do you continue? There's a slightly better move, I'm a kitty. Hello, Lolastic. Lolastic. Super fantastic. Queen h4 is actually the slightly better move, guys. Because then we protect our knight and we still threaten to go here. Okay. And we also even have this threat as well. Vicious, evil, ugly. So there's so much that can be played here. Okay. And now after this, I mean, his best move is pretty much g3. And then you just take the knight. And after he takes back, you take back. And you're up a whole rook. If you look at the material, you're up a whole rook. So obviously the rest of the game should not be very hard. But let's go to the main line. After king takes... After king takes h2. Please do continue, my friends. Do continue. Hello, Demetrius, and thank you for following. So we are doing a little bit of king-side attack, just showing you how to attack a castle king. Thank you for another follow there. I'm just waiting for the name to update so I can see who it is. Oh, it is Demetrius and Dinosaur. I see. Okay. So how do we continue, guys? How do we continue? After king takes h2. Okay, yes. So queen h4 is very simple. And then here. And now... how do we continue now? Find the right one. Rook h8 fails a little bit because of f3 now. So rook h8 fails to f3 because of this. You see the problem. You see the problem now. Now you've given him an escape square because remember, you don't have the pin anymore. So the f3 is now available. So rook h3 is too slow. Thank you, Heavy Something, for the follow. And welcome. Bishop h3. Sorry, let's go back. Bishop h3. It does look pretty solid, I must admit. I just want to remember what is the line now. He can maybe defend a little here. He can maybe try queen. No, can he play g3? Sorry, he can just play g3, no? Takes. King there, right? Oof. Okay, it's not pretty, I must admit. I must admit that this is not pretty either. But g3 might just survive. Maybe. I don't know. This looks disgusting anyway. But otherwise, maybe even queen here. Maybe we just go queen here and sacrifice our queen. Because remember, you're down material as well already. So, well, actually, you're not really, are you? Nope, you're not really. So, yeah, but this will still be long. Okay, Yakira Viv says... queen h3. Now that is a much more accurate move. Okay. Now what you need to know about this move is that you cannot play here. You cannot play f3 because bishop takes e3 destroys you. Because you cannot take with the queen. If queen takes, then mate. So your queen is now overloaded. Okay. This is now a typical tactic. Your queen has to defend both those pieces and both of those pieces are attacked. That's also usually quite important in an overloading. Okay, so both of the pieces that the queen is defending, that is important, is being attacked. So you can just, when a piece is overloaded, when you can see that it's overloaded, then you just have to look at which one. Thanks for the follow, D Jaus. All you have to do is just look for which one you can take first, because of course then when the queen goes away, you can take the other one. So after bishop takes e3, if he takes, it's mate. If he doesn't take any blocking move, like let's say rook here, then queen takes g2 mate. If he blocks with the queen, you don't even take the queen, you just mate him. Because the same problem, because a pinned piece cannot defend. So this queen does not defend g2 anymore. Okay, so f3 is not possible. So what's the only move for white here? He has to play g3. And now what do we play? Come on, what do we play now? Let's see if we have some heroes here. Ooh, the yellow dragon fails epically. Bad yellow dragon. Bad. It's actually yellow dragoon. I realized that today and I feel sorry about it. Sorry, the yellow dragoon. Is that a dragoon from StarCraft? Do you play StarCraft? If you do, we must play. Come on, there's a better move. No. That's too slow, sir. Come on now. Of course, bishop g4 wins, man. But rook h8, there we go. It's just mating too. There's not much you can do about it. Of course, bishop g4 wins, man. I'm just messing with you, bro. Yeah, but we want to mate him faster. It's about the most accurate. If this was a puzzle, the yellow dragon, bishop g4 would be wrong and rook h8 would be correct. And this is what it's all about, isn't it? Isn't it? If this was a puzzle on Lichess, then bishop g4 would be wrong. Okay, cool. So, it's not exactly a very good game played here. The point is just to show you how you can attack a castle king with the idea of h6 g5. Okay? So, okay, so the idea here is just to show you the idea that you can sometimes attack quite quickly when this bishop is blocked out, and of course we can't get rid of this knight. Then the sacrifice on h3 is not so desirable. So in this case we play g5, g4. Okay, so that is an example of the two different types of ways that you can attack a castle king. You have the sacrifice on h3, or you have the g5, g4 push. Okay, now we're going to look at a little bit more of an advanced attack on a castle king. Okay, and here the two players, you can see down on your screen. Oh, you can't see anything. Sorry. This was one of the Blitz games that was played now yesterday in St. Louis with Karyakin. Okay. The game itself is not that important, but I will just kind of scroll through it until the most important point. Okay. There. Okay. So here, after knight g6 is played, b3, queen f6. And he plays knight c4. Okay, now we have to look at what's going on again. Now, if you look at the previous two games, you'll note that we have this bishop. Step 1, bishop secured. Okay, if you look at the next thing, we do have the sacrifice. Okay, now the reason why, let me explain to you the reason again. If this queen was here, okay, then in most cases when you sacrifice and your queen ends up on h3, they can play knight to h2 and queen f3 or queen g4, which forces you to trade off pieces. Okay, now in this case the queen is not on d1, okay, but the knight is still here. So have a look at what you would play if you were black now. Thanks for the follow, Lolastic. I can tell you that the stage is already set, okay? So we obviously not going to attack the h3 weakness with g5, g4. So we want to look at the sacrifice. But the question is, does it work? Okay, I'm a kitty. I'm a kitty. Okay, cool. So obviously, if he takes here, then we would just take here, right? Okay, and then we just win a pawn. His king is shattered. We have this threat with mate. It's pretty disgusting. Okay, so he can't play that. So instead he had planned, and this is what he played. He played bishop g5. Okay, so now you can see we cannot take here anymore. Our queen has to move. So where does the queen go? Oh, hello, MKHAN. MK Hans. I don't know. welcome to the show, and thanks for the follow, buddy. Yeah, let's just sack the queen. Okay, I'm a kitty. Good. Queen to e6, of course, because we want to end up with our queen on h3. Remember, that's how it kind of would have looked like anyway, right? So there we go, and queen takes here. Okay, now what? First of all, this is hanging. Okay. And what makes this position different here is the fact that you cannot play knight h2, okay? Because if you play knight h2, then you can play check again. And now the bishop is not defended anymore. Remember, he can't do anything because he is pinned. So now after he moves, you can take the piece and you're just up 2 pawns. That's it. Done and dusted. Okay? So you can't play the knight h2 idea anymore. That has come and gone. So you can't play knight h2. Okay? In the game, queen e2 was played. Okay? To defend the knight. Now, there is another option we want to look at. We also want to look at what happens. Yes. Okay. So I don't know why. Well, okay. All the variations are the same in the end. You want to play knight... you say knight here first, right? If you play, watch this, MDDK. If you play that, he plays here. Okay, and now you got some problems to solve, buddy. It's checkmate, actually. I mean, there's not much you can do about it. So that's why. You wanted to know why? This is why. Okay, because queen g4 is the usual mate threat if the pawn does not get taken, or the bishop does not get taken on h3. Then that's the mate threat. Now, if you try obviously that, I can just take, and I have the mate still, okay? If you play g3, then I take here, and there's no way to stop mate. Okay, so you have to look at the patterns. You see the patterns now. Beautiful, isn't it? Okay, so you can't take there immediately. You have to take the piece first, you take here. Now, in this position, though, what if white played knight takes b6? It's quite pretty, this. So how do we continue now? Because now, of course, our rook is hanging as well. So we have to do everything with threats. If we are going to win back material, we have to do everything with threats. Let's see how sharp you guys are. It's all about just kind of like maneuvering pieces around with checks and with mate threats. Basically, the theory here is if you take here, right? Can he take the rook? It's a very, very good question. I'm pretty sure he can. Yeah, he can just take the rook, right? You go check here. Let's say he goes to white square. No, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Of course, he can bail out to the draw, right? So here, if he takes, then you can play here, right? And then he can stop everything. And then he's actually up material. So that's not so great. The first move is extremely important here for black. Okay, you want to do everything with checks and with mate threats. Because remember, if you can take this knight with check, then you're looking pretty. Because then you can just take back on b6 and you're good to go. Okay? So how do we try and sneak Sneak. So that we can take the knight with a check. That is the most important part here. Yeah, now we're testing your skills. Knight f4 right now doesn't work, right? Because you can just take. You can just take it. Because now if you take back, then you can move the knight and it's fine, no problems. And if you play, what do you play? You know what I mean? If you take, he plays bishop g3, etc, etc. So he saves a piece there. So that, okay, Dinosaur, our champion for the day, plays queen g4 check. Okay, now of course the king can only go to this square. If the king goes here, you take the knight with check. And then you come back and you check, and then you just take the piece back and you're up 2 pawns. Okay, so look at that. Like there, check. Let's say the king goes back and we just take here and we're up 2 pawns. Okay, perfect. Now after queen check, the king goes to h2. Now what do we play? Now you gotta be accurate. Let's see who's the champion. So now, see, so here you just have to be a lot more accurate. But the position, the idea is still the same. All the ideas are the same. The white square weaknesses is the big problem for white here. Yeah, for white here, yeah. Anyone? Let's see, where's I'm a kitty? Where's your instincts now? Now your previous move is much more different now because the king is on a dark square. Important, very important. There we go, Yakir. Now knight f4 is great because now you're just threatening mate, right? Okay. Hello, Andre. So now if he takes, you go check. And if he goes anywhere on a white square here or where, you take the piece and then you obviously take back. Okay, so, and if he goes here, you still go here. If he goes, I'm just gonna remember everything, right? What did I do? If he goes king h2, there we go, sorry. King h2, now what do you play? And this is what makes this position very, very cool. Is because we have something else in the position now that we don't, that we can use. Ooh, thanks X Gaming for the follow. You are excellent, as Raiden says to you. So what do we play now for black? This is now the trick question. What do we play for black? Guys, if you only got here now and you missed most of the show, I will save this, obviously. Dinosaur, you demon. So I will obviously save this and you can watch it afterwards. Exactly. Now after rook e6, yeah, beautiful. Now you can see that we don't care about anything. Rook e6 and now he's in big fat poop. He has to play queen e3, okay? With the theory that if you play rook h6 now, okay, then he just takes your rook. You take back and then he can take on a8. So this is not a good move because he can sacrifice, right? Okay? Take here, and then, oh, sorry, you can even play here. Sorry, you can't take back even. Okay, so careful. So what do we play now? Continue, my young Padawans. Yeah, I'm gonna keep the video, Andre. So you can have the whole explanation of the kingside attack, and I'm gonna build on it as well, Andre. I'm gonna build on it, everybody. This is only on the h3 weakness. I'm gonna build g3 weakness. I'm gonna build a knight f3 gone. I'm gonna build a f2 weakness. I'm gonna do all of them for you guys. That's my boy. Queen h5 check. And now the king, okay, now what now? Now the king can't move because otherwise we go knight, rook here check, right? Okay, so knight goes in front, takes, queen goes in front, and after takes, knight takes back. We are just 2 pawns up. That's it. Done, and dusted. Okay, of course it is, MDD Cairo. This is like private coaching. I give you private coaching. This is why I ask. Okay, this is my theory, guys. I would much rather give you guys real nice coaching, but you don't have to pay for, but you guys can donate. You know what I mean? So I'd like to do this like every day, give lessons, give lessons to you guys. And if you guys donate a couple of dollars, you know what I mean? If everybody pitches in, then obviously it's worth my time anyway, okay? And I have more fun, you guys have more fun, and a lot more people can learn instead of one person paying $20 for a private lesson. So that's my theory, okay? So I'm hoping to... Come on, guys. I do have a lot of students as well, of course, but I'd like to start doing this full time. Okay, so in this position, you can see that black is up 2 pawns, and obviously he's just winning this position. Okay, now we go all the way back. And we do not play knight takes b6. So we understand now why knight takes b6 did not work. So he played, sorry, let's go back. He played queen e2 in the game. Okay, now let's see if you guys could continue the way he did. What is the next move for white? For black, sorry. Woo! Piwiabu and Raphael, thanks for the follow, guys. Thank you guys so much. If you guys did miss most of the show, don't worry. It will be a video. Oh, thank you so much. It will be a video that you can watch afterwards, guys. So the video will be available forever. As long as the internet exists, okay? So what does black play now? What do we play, young Padawans? Pee-wee, baby! So yeah, because you guys are kind of like rocking up here at the end of the lesson. So like I say, it will be available. You guys can go and check it out afterwards. So I haven't heard anybody give me a move. It's black to play here. How do we continue this correctly is the question, really. Yeah, stupid nose. Anybody gonna venture a guess? Yeah, exactly. The bishop is still there. Great, great. Perfect, perfect. Very good. There's another thing to consider here as well. Okay? One of white... Okay, you would love to play this. This would be your Final Fantasy, if you know what I'm saying. Okay? Offer draw. No way, man. No way. We're not offering a draw here. Okay? Now, knight h4 doesn't work. You can just take with the bishop, of course. So that doesn't work so well. Queen j4 is a bit slow. You have to get the right move order, guys. You have to get the right move order. We want to chase away this bishop. How do we chase away this guy? What do we play to get him to go away? Away, I say. Away with you. Thanks, Yakir Aviv. Thank you so much. Are you from Israel? I would love to go to Israel. So how are we going to chase the bishop away? We want the bishop to go away. Away. Okay, the problem with f6 is, I'm a kitty, is that now you block this idea, right? So be careful of that. No, f6 is not right, because of course then you block your rook e6 to rook g6 idea. So what's the only other move to attack the bishop with? Remember, your rook is just as strong here as it is here, okay? Like I say, f6 is incorrect because that... Okay, now we gotta go. So h6 is the correct move, okay. Now what does black play? White play. What would you play if you were white now? Let's flip the script and ask you, what would you play if you were white? So what would you play if you were white now? Aha, okay, I'm a kitty. That is exactly what happened. Now, how do you continue for black? You have to be extremely perfect here. Bishop e3 is also a good option. Yes, I do agree bishop e3 was also a possibility, by the way. But now, what does black play now? How are we perfectly accurate with black? I wish so too, Chess Motion. I also want to be a kitty. Meow. Let me ask you this. Is this rook important at all? Do we, in every attack that we have used so far, do we use the rook on a8? The answer is no. We don't give a crap about that rook. The hell with that rook. Who cares about that stupid rook? Okay? Yeah. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we can take on g5 without the knight being able to take back. And then knight f4 ideas. So queen check. Lovely. King h2. Okay? And now we take the piece. Now we have this with that and that. This is disgusting. It's getting painful. Really, really bad. Okay? Now, of course, the knight can't move anywhere except for trying to defend its own queen. Otherwise, you just take the queen on e2. Okay? He plays rook g1. Now, obviously, queen h5 is the only real move we have here. And the king goes... king goes suicidal. Suicidal! He goes in there. Okay? Now we play knight f4. Okay? Attacking the queen. Bum bum. Okay? And now he played queen there. And we just take back. Okay, now we look at the position and black is up 2 pawns once again, and he still has a very strong attack. Okay, and that was pretty much, I mean, the rest is pretty much just, you know, a technique from here because you're up 2 pawn. Yes, that is exactly the idea, Andre. You play queen there, and there's another reason as well, because if the king is on the h file, of course, then this idea is still much stronger. You can now see your rook still has the possibility now of getting here or getting here. Okay, so it's perfect. Okay, and now I can show you just quickly how to take how the game continued. Okay, he played rook here, obviously it makes a lot of sense. Then the queen went back. He played his knight away. Queen went to f6. Now the queen wants to dance on to f4. Okay, so this is one of the ideas that he has as well. He played f3, played g6. Now what he wants to do, there is also a possibility. Plays there, plays there, plays knight, rook, takes there, and of course queen here. Now there is a evil mate threat once again. Hello, null. So now there's that evil threat again on h3, which is just sick. Okay, so queen f1 is the only way to protect. Okay, and after takes, rook h8, of course, there is no way to stop the ideas that are coming. Okay, GG, young Padawan, GG. So he played the last move was here, and he just got forked. Okay, so but let's say he plays what else? Let's say he plays, I don't know. Shall we try something else? When your king is castled, when is a good time to play a pawn move that frees up the king from the back rank? Pee-wee, in most cases you want to do that when there is not any real action going around your king. Okay, if there's pieces charging toward your king, then you don't want to move the pawns. Okay, there's a principle that we say don't move pawns on the side where you are weaker, okay, or where you are being attacked. You try not to move the pawns, because if you do move the pawns, you just create targets. Okay, so that is the general rule. Once you've obviously started trading off some pieces and you're playing on the queen side or whatever, then you can give yourself an escape square, because you don't have to worry that 6,000 pieces are just going to go splat on you. Okay, so that's a general good rule, is don't do it if you are being attacked already. Okay, they call it a hook. If you play something when you are being attacked and you push a pawn, then you are creating a hook for him to grab onto. Okay? Like when you're attacking a castle and they're throwing their hooks over and they climb on top. That's exactly what happens. Okay. So that is the end of this session for you guys. Okay, if you guys missed most of it, you probably should go back to the start, because I explained to you what a castle king nucleus looks like and what happens when any of the pieces around the king starts moving, like the pawns, like the knight, like the rook, and what weaknesses can suddenly be suddenly arise from those moves that has been played. Okay, so this was the h3 weakness that I just kind of like showed you a little bit of basics about. Okay, next week what I will do is I will do g3 weaknesses. Okay, and then the week after that I will do the knight on f3 moving away weaknesses, and then the week after that I will do the f2 weakness as well. So we will focus. I'll quickly just pop back here on my castle king. Okay, so this is the position I looked at. Okay, so we now looked at this weakness. What we will do is we will look at the g3 weakness with the squares around the king being the next option. Okay, yeah, yeah, the video will be here on Twitch and on YouTube as well. You can just scroll down if you wanna subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. There's a lot of lessons and analysis videos and stuff like that as well. Okay, so thank you guys for the follow, and then yeah, I will see you guys. Well, I'll be streaming again a lot of stuff tomorrow as well. Just check out the schedule and you'll know exactly. I will be having a simul tomorrow night. Okay, if you guys want to come and play this simul against me, the time control will probably be 60-minute with 30-second increments. So proper game. Okay, and then come and play. Obviously, I'll take any challenger. I don't care what your rating is. As many of you as possible. And then we play ourselves a nice little simul. Okay, but check out the schedule at the bottom to know what I am up to. Cool, guys. Thank you guys so much. That was a lot of fun. And thank you for all the new followers. I really, really do appreciate it, guys. I really do.